What did you say now?
The Boondocks is the greatest cartoon of all time. It's a timeless and classic watch that's hilarious and enjoyable throughout every single season. Well, except for you. I spent a good chunk of my childhood watching this show, and while it probably wasn't the best thing I could have been watching for my age, it did teach me a lot, especially about the real world and how things work. I rewatched it all the way through about 3 years ago, and it still holds up, surprisingly, both storytelling and comedy even to this day. Now I'm gonna give an itsy beatsy minor spoiler warning for this video because I'm gonna reference some episodes in the later seasons, but since like most cartoons, every episode has a new problem solution to it, you should really be fine. Without further ado, let's— Wait. Hey DJ, spin that!
I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration.
All right, y'all. Whoa. I'm gonna be honest. I would let the whole thing play, but my last video got copyrighted, and I let it slide, you know, for the low of the game. But we're not doing that again this time. Sorry. Now back to what I was saying. Let's get into it. I think something the show did really well was actually make me laugh. There's millions of cartoons out there, but this is one of the ones that almost guaranteed to get a laugh out of me at some point during each episode. The show wasn't afraid to make fun of any and everybody, and it stuck true to itself every time, and I can tell you right now, some of these jokes would not fly today. I feel like a huge contributor to the comedic effectiveness was the unique characters and insane situations they were often put in. One episode you might have an elderly man facing bankruptcy from not being able to work as much anymore, which is, you know, pretty realistic, to an apocalypse caused by eating too much chicken. I'm not playing, y'all. This was dead ass an episode, but we'll get to that later. Now going back to the characters of this world, each one has their own unique charm to them. Huey is the laid back but, you know, passionate black activist that tries to do what's right and is seemingly always the smartest person in the room, while his brother Riley is the complete opposite and is an energetic knucklehead that only cares about himself and his image on the quote-unquote streets, which are actually the suburbs. They're a stark contrast from each other, but it's a formula that works because when each one is on the screen, you know what to expect. And when they come together, you never know what's gonna happen next, whether it be a fight or some crazy scenario that they get put into. These two butt heads almost every episode, and it's a hilarious dynamic that's really brought to life by the amazing Regina King. And yes, she voices both characters, which is crazy. And if you didn't know that, it's okay, I didn't find out until last year. Going back to the boys though, their cranky caretaker, Robert Freeman, or Granddad as he's commonly referred to, he's a hopeless romantic that does his best to care for his grandkids, but he often gets caught up in his own mistakes. And I mean a lot of mistakes, y'all. Like every piece of booty meat that came his way, this nigga was jumping out of his chair to get after. Despite his trials and errors, he usually still finds a way to make it through, and he plays his role great as the anchor of the family. Side note, rest in peace to John Witherspoon. He was actually the phenomenal actor that voiced him. Other iconic characters include Tom, Ed Wunsler, Rummy, and of course, this nigga. Now, even if you haven't watched much of the show, you probably have some idea of who this is. Uncle Ruckus, no relation, is I guess a friend of the Freemans that has a clear disdain for black people and claims he's not black and simply has vitiligo. However, if you look at him, come on, bro. Y'all see this nigga too, right? Honestly, although his backstory is pretty wild, he still has to be one of the funniest characters of all time because you never know how out of pocket his next words are actually going to be. For example,
Next stop, Willie Harden maximum security prison. Now you white chillin' be prepared. This is gonna be like a trip to the zoo. And as for you Negroes, well, this just gonna be like a trip to the future.
you know, y'all, why would he say that? The Boondocks is goated. Not only for having really effective comedy, but for also creating situations that are so outlandish that the show literally feels like an anime at times. So you remember when I said there was a chicken-based apocalypse, right? Yeah, so essentially there was a new chicken being offered at KFC and everyone, you know, rushed to eat it and people started getting sick and it turned into a whole like doomsday situation. But it just ended up being a mild salmonella outbreak. So, you know. Season 3, episode 11, titled The Red Ball, highlights a game of dodgeball between residents of Woodcrest and a Chinese mafia. It sounds normal-ish, right? No! The twist is that every play feels like a scene out of a sports anime, and every single person that gets hit with the ball is done so in the most crazy way that You wouldn't believe it unless you saw it. There's a particular moment that will always get me hype and is honestly one of my favorite moments from the entire show. Did you see what I just saw? Now this says let's do it a fight, and more so really just an iconic episode that I like. But in season 1 episode 5 we get the birth of moments. Essentially they're the show's way of explaining the nonsensical ignorance that can occur between, well, niggas. It's an unfortunate occurrence that I'm sure many can relate to, and the episode gave us the creation of one of the greatest cartoon menaces on earth, Stinkmeaner.
I smell new shoes.
Oh, me.
Oh, what you made?
And finally, in season 3, episode 5, titled The Hateocracy, I think I'm saying that right, Stinkmeaner's old gang spins the block on the Freemans to try and get revenge for Stinkmeaner. They confront Huey and Riley at school and proceed to whoop their ass. See, I started the show when I was younger, and before I got into anime, you can imagine how jaw-dropping some of these fights were. Especially for a cartoon, and a black cartoon at that? I've heard the phrase, the Boondocks is basically an anime, so many times that there's no way you can deny it. And honestly, if you still don't believe me after watching some of these scenes, you're cooked, buddy. Now yes, the Boondocks has some excellent fight scenes and cracks some hilarious jokes, but I need you to understand why this show is rated so highly for me. At the end of the day, it's truly about the message that the Boondocks drives home. It's definitely up to interpretation by the viewer depending on, you know, who you are, where you come from. But what I got from the show is it's a way of depicting black struggles, inside jokes, culture, and achievements in a way that can be digested and enjoyed no matter what your background is. A revolving focal point of the show is Huey, and he's always attempting to get his people to stand up.
Stand up! Stand up!
And be better than who they were yesterday. I believe certain messages, definitely not all of them, can be translated into real life and teach an individual to take pride in themselves, their culture, and especially their people, because at the end of the day, we are all we have. This is a recurring theme in the show, as even though there's countless trials and tribulations that they go through in their life, the Freemans always have each other's backs and end up together again in one way or another. It doesn't get any realer than that, because sometimes family is all you have, especially when your back's up against the wall. All in all, there are countless phenomenal cartoons that have come out over the past 2 decades that are equally deserving of praise, and honestly, I contemplated making this video on the Boondocks a lot more times than I probably should have. When you have shows like Regular Show, Teen Titans, Billy and Mandy, Adventure Time, Rick and Morty, Chowder, Fairly Odd Parents, Ed, Ed and Eddie, Ben 10, Danny Phantom, Kids Next Door, etc., it's an almost infinite sea of fire-ass shows to pick from. However, the Boondocks always spoke to me on a different level, and I don't know if it's because of the anime-esque style it had to it, the message it delivered, or maybe just because it was funny. Regardless, I'm officially crowning it the best cartoon of all time in my all-time series. Still though, I'm excited to see y'all's answers, because as we saw in my last of all time video, y'all had lots of opinions to share in the comments. Y'all were tearing niggas up. Let me know your favorite cartoon of all time, and if you've seen the Boondocks, let me know who your favorite character is or what episode you like the most. I'm starting the series called Of All Time, where I discuss my favorite anime, TV shows, cartoons, movies, etc. that I think deserve to be crowned the greatest ever created. It's something new for me, but I'm honestly having a great time making these videos and hearing you guys' opinions. If you haven't seen the first episode on the greatest anime of all time, please be sure to go back and watch it on my channel. If you're new around here, consider subscribing, as it's free and it helps me out a lot. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support you gave me in the last video. It was honestly more than I thought I would get for that type of video, but it seems like you guys enjoy this. I enjoy making these, so we're gonna keep it going. I got nothing else to say for now, so until next time, peace.